Guys, I'm straight out of the shower because for the first time ever, the thumbnail actually matches the severity of this video. The iOS update went live and it hit Facebook tracking way harder than I thought it would. I frankly didn't think it would have that much of an impact, and it did. If you're wondering why I'm smiling, it's because it didn't hit higher at all. We were already better at tracking before, and with our Facebook API integration, we actually work with Facebook to make your tracking really, really good. So it's really excellent for me. But we already had preparations in place if we did get hit, so it wasn't like something I was concerned about, but I'm also haven't been really concerned about it because the way we track is very ethical. We track people from the websites that the businesses put us on. We're not tracking people moving all around the internet and watching what they're doing. We're just simply recording people hitting the websites of the businesses that have us on there. So it's not invasive, it's not digging into where people are going, it's just where they are. I'm not here to talk about that. I want to give you the updates on this. I was resisting making this video for a long time because I wanted to wait and see what happened instead of just going on like everybody else and talking about what they think is going to happen. No one works at Apple, so they can't tell you. Now that things have gone live, I'd like to share things with you. On top of that, I'm not going to pitch Hyros in this video. If you're interested in fixing your tracking, there's a link to it on literally every other video on this channel. And more so, I want to show you how to fix this, or at least understand how to fix it. It's actually pretty simple if you understand the premise of everything that's happening. Just do me a favor and just watch the video. I'm going to keep it super short, and you don't need to be tempted to click away from the video. There's not going to be any like fast action pitch or something like that. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so first and foremost, I am a tracking expert. I've worked in tracking for my own ads and deeply inside of tracking at Hyros for years. So I want to stress in this video one thing. I don't also work at Apple, okay? And so while I know how tracking works, I don't work at Apple, so I can't tell you everything technology-wise that is in the update. I can just tell you what I'm seeing, and I can tell you what I believe that we're seeing. So first off, what you need to understand just happened, and I believe the first and foremost thing that Apple focused on is blocking Facebook's apps. And what you need to understand is two things about how Facebook tracks and then also how their apps track. And one thing I want to point out, this video is not to hate on Facebook. Their tracking for what it's been the past few years is incredible because it's a one-size-fits-all slap-on solution that doesn't require any customer support. That's pretty cool. And I want to also stress that what we do at Hyros is work with Facebook. We're not here to bash Facebook or like say Facebook is dead, use us instead. Frankly, what I'm going to show you at this end of this video is how we actually work with Facebook to make Facebook ads better than ever. That being said, what Apple really went after first is the app. And you need to understand when you're on the app scrolling around on your phone, what's happening is you're being tracked the entire time because you're in Facebook's, let's just use, for lack of better words, I'm going to dumb this all down. You're in their network. All right, so everything you're doing on there, you're being tracked. All your actions are being tracked as you use the app. That's not good, okay, because it can see that you're on the app. It can see who you are. It can see everything you're looking at. And then when you click out of the app, what also happens is you're still viewing websites inside the app, so it can see everywhere you're going and everywhere you're moving around to. I'm not going to talk about whether this is good or bad. I don't think anyone's a fan of this, but more importantly, this is what Apple went in and targeted, okay? And so you have to understand that, like, let's say this is the website, and everything that's going on at the website server level, and then the website is contained in the app. All right, so this is the container of the app, and so the app is watching everything you're doing from here. Well, what it did is it just blinded the app. The website can still see what you're doing. And this is why, for example, server-side tracking, which is what Hyros is, or if maybe you've set up your own custom solution in the past, that's why this is working just fine, because the iOS system isn't blocking websites from loading up, okay? It isn't blocking websites from loading up. And even when you're looking at the website, you're in the Facebook browser, okay? So that also being said, what you also have to understand about Facebook tracking is that it's semi-blind, all right? You have to look at where the tracking is applied at. So when you click an ad, what's going to happen is there's going to be an FB click ID on the link, which isn't necessarily tracking. It's just used for identification purposes. And what's going to happen is this is where your tracking begins at. Now, the problem is whenever you jump from page to page, this has been going on forever, by the way. This isn't anything new. Specifically, if you're on Safari or Firefox, what happens is it wipes the Facebook tracking. Now, of course, you have the Facebook pixel up here, but the reason why this is bad is when these browsers are closed down, the tracking is lost. to some extent. All right. And again, I don't work at Facebook. All I can tell you is what we've seen going on in the tracking. Okay, what we've seen in our tracking and their tracking. This right here could be fundamentally wrong. I want to stress that. Okay, I don't want to make any statements where I'm just pulling stuff out of my butt. I'm just telling you what I think. Okay. So at this point, the tracking is lost whenever you close down the browser, you switch devices or whatnot. This isn't great for tracking in the first place. This is one of the reasons why Facebook tracking had a lot of inaccuracies with webinar funnels, call funnels, etc. Because really tracking is applied right here and then you're watched right here. And so it can watch when you're logged into Facebook and can watch basically when your browser is connected to Facebook. But as soon as this is closed down, these browsers are switched, you hop to another device, the tracking is lost in the first place. So this isn't necessarily important to the update. This is how it tracked before. The main thing you need to understand is that one of the key ways where it had a huge way to track with and apply tracking from the app just got knocked out. And so most people are using the Facebook app, or they're using Safari on the iOS system, which is, again, kind of doing similar things. I'm not sure every place that Apple wiped out their tracking, but it looks like if you're on an app that's in, the iOS system, it's going to be slapping this stuff. And the reason why this is also bad again is because Facebook tracking needs to have that connection to Facebook. It's not reapplied every single click. It's not actually stored on the server when the click comes in. So let me explain pretty much how Hyros works or any server-side tracking works. So if a person clicks a Facebook ad on Facebook, what happens is the link itself, first off, Hyros is going to, I'm just going to use Hyros as the example right here. And sorry if I'm talking fast. I'm just excited because this is cool. That being said, what's going on right here is Facebook's going to send in a Facebook click ID, and then there's also going to be a parameter talking to Hyros that tells you what Facebook ad it came from. And I'm going to use Hyros as an example in this video. You can also interchange this with server-side tracking. I'm not trying to pressure you into buying Hyros. You should be setting up some type of server-side tracking. I think Hyros is the best for it, but if you want to set up something custom, by all means. You just need to understand this. So the parameter that's in the Facebook link, which is going to be a little line of text after the link, and the Facebook ID is going to be collected on the page, okay? And so right off the bat, Hyros is going to know that this ad was the thing that generated this click, and this is exactly where this person came from. So what then happens is every other link they click on the website, let's imagine they go back to their cell phone and click an email to get to this page. Let's imagine they close the browser down and then reopen the browser. Doesn't really matter. We have enough levels of tracking to recognize so that tracking is reapplied at every step. On top of that, let's imagine the person goes to a website and this is an opt-in page. Then they land on the thank you page for the opt-in. Then they come back to a checkout later on, and then they process it in Stripe. What's going on right here is the data is reapplied and rechecked and recorded at each of these steps. And so as long as we can connect one piece of data to the overall big chunk of data that's being collected, it really doesn't matter. We know exactly who clicked the ad and where they came from. More importantly, as soon as we see the data come in, what happens is we can easily go and say, oh, okay, this is the data that came in, and the place that this person came from, the original source was this ad, and this was the original Facebook click ID. Now here's where it gets really cool, because then we can go and basically say, all right, this is the Facebook click ID, and Facebook knows this. They have this information right here. So then what we can easily do is say, hey, Facebook, we can use their marketing API. By the way, I could be wrong here, but I'm extremely sure that I'm not. Hyros is the only system that does this. We're the only one that connects to the Facebook click ID like this. Okay, we also do this for Google Ads as well. That being said, what we do is we say, hey, Facebook, this is the Facebook click ID. This is who clicked. And then Facebook goes, oh, okay, I know who this person is, and I know what this ad is. And then they go and place the conversion inside their system, which then trains their AI pixels the same way you were training them before, except much better because we're dealing with 100% accurate data, or at least as close to 100% as we can possibly get here. So the main takeaway is that while this original tracking that Facebook was using in the past just take a major hit, A, that wasn't the best form of tracking in the first place. B, it wasn't the best way to train your AI. C, the same solutions before, server-side tracking, that was already the better way to train your pixels in AI and the better way to track your ads, It's still there, and you can still train your AI much better, and you can still assign sales directly in your Facebook ad manager. You don't even need, for example, here's a screenshot of a customer sent me yesterday after the update happened. You don't even need to be using the Hyros Chrome extension, which if you look right here in my browser, shows me way more calls collected yesterday than Facebook collected. But I can push this data back like this customer showed you right here, and literally my ads don't change. I'm still pushing the same exact data right in the ad manager and still training my pixel. So that's what's going on. That's what we're seeing. Okay, I don't work at Apple or Facebook. And those are the solutions to it. You should definitely be looking into server-side solutions. I think Hyros is the best. I think our competitors are terrible. That's one of the reasons why Hyros has done so well the past year. That being said, you should be looking into having someone set up a server-side solution for you. If you're interested in checking out Hyros, every other video on this channel has a link to it below it. Every single one. I'm not going to do it on this video because I just wanted to go and break down what is happening and how you should be looking at it. So this has been Becker. Take it easy.